Everyone, and welcome to KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin this new noon hour with some new information about a very, very sad story. We are learning more about a teen who died after jumping into the Spokane River last night. Spokane Public Schools confirmed that the teen was a student at Yasuhara Middle School, and the district has now put on extra counselors on campus today to meet with students and staff. Rescuers say 4 kids jumped into the water near Riverfront Park, but only 3 made it out safely. Crews made it to the scene within minutes of the teens jumping in. However, it wasn't until almost an hour later that the dive team was able to pull the teenager out of the water.
When you get this cold of water, it can take over. It can essentially kind of freeze your muscles. You can panic, that it's hard to breathe.
The other teens are physically okay at this point. Firefighters say it appears the group jumped in the water just to have some fun. And at KREM 2, we bring you more to every story. And as the weather warms up, first responders are reminding people to be safe out there on the water. Even as air temperatures come close to 80 degrees this weekend, water temperatures are still in the 40s and 50s. You just heard how cold it is. It's still very cold. Your body can seize up, and you can more or less have paralysis when you jump in, and this can lead to drowning in just minutes. First responders call it the 1-10-1 rule.
1 minute, you got to regulate breathing. 10 minutes before your extremities and your organs, really stop working, and then an hour before you lose consciousness.
So make sure to always wear a life jacket if you are out there on the water. 15 people died last year while using things like paddle boards and kayaks. 14 of them were not wearing life jackets. Right, as we mentioned, certainly temperatures on the outside warming up. So we're going to take a few minutes, check in with meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thomas, it's just, again, something we continually have to talk about is water safety when the temperatures warm up.
Yeah, it almost takes until July for those water temperatures to really be comfortable enough for the seasons. For example, Lake Coeur d'Alene water temperature is 43 degrees, which is absolutely freezing. I have only ever once experienced water that cold, and that was as a collegiate swimmer. So it's not even fun. You almost have to wait again until July to really fully enjoy the water like that. But temperature-wise, it is getting very, very warm. Even as the noon hour, we hit 66 degrees, and there are already some low 70s in central Washington. Absolutely nothing to track on Doppler radar. Not today, not tomorrow, not this weekend, and maybe not even all of next week. We are settling in to easily our warmest weather pattern so far of 2024. And for now, it looks like our 2 warmest days are going to be these 2 weekend days, which does include Mother's Day on this Sunday. 82 and 81 degrees respectively. More than enough warmth to go around. So coming up, I'm going to detail how close this could be to record high temperatures, as well as the weather pattern responsible for this prolonged stretch of warm air temperatures. We'll have those details in just a few minutes.
And this is coming in new at noon. The city of Spokane Valley has wrapped up its investigation into Councilmember Al Merkel. The city says an independent investigator reported that Merkel, quote, engaged in a pattern of disrespectful and intimidating behavior towards city staff. The city launched an investigation after a city employee filed a complaint alleging improper communications and some safety concerns during a routine meeting. The city says Merkel's work area has been moved to a more private part of the building. However, like other council members, Merkel will still have access to all city resources needed to conduct council business. We do expect to hear from Merkel as well as the city manager coming up later this afternoon. So we'll certainly have an update on the investigation coming up on KREM 2 News at 4 o'clock. And of course, we'll post it on KREM.com. Now to the very latest on the Israel-Hamas war. President Biden has been warning Israel for weeks that the U.S. does not support a planned invasion of the southern Gaza city of Rafah. Now, as Natalie Brand reports, the president has ordered a hold on U.S. weapons being sent to Israel.
New video shows Israeli tanks moving through parts of eastern Rafah, the southern Gaza city where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering, as Israel weighs whether to launch a full-scale invasion on the Hamas stronghold. A warning from President Biden, who says the U.S. will not provide weapons for a Rafah offensive.
We're not walking away from Israel's security. We're walking away from Israel's ability to wage war in those areas.
In an interview with CNN, he was asked about pausing a U.S. shipment of thousands of bombs to Israel.
Civilians have been killed in Gaza as a consequence of those bombs and other ways in which they go after population centers.
Israeli national security expert Chuck Freilich says he does not believe the pause will impact operations in the short term.
But I think it's sending a very, very strong message, which has the defense establishment very, very deeply disturbed.
On Capitol Hill, Republicans blasted the move.
Those precision weapons will help them fully defeat Hamas with less impact on the civilian population in Gaza. So why wouldn't we go ahead and get them those weapons just as fast as we can?
Congressional Democrats remain divided over imposing conditions on offensive weapons to Israel. President Biden made clear the U.S. is still committed to helping its ally defend itself. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.